So in the New Testament, Jesus tells his followers, his disciples, and us not to worry. Now, having a strong psychological background, I understand the power of what Jesus is saying and the importance of it. However, one of the things that's always interesting about that is that it doesn't tell us how to get rid of worry. So I thought I would give you some clues today. Well, how do you deal with worry? Well, one of the practical things that I might tell you is activity helps a lot. So for example, Pastor Sheila and I just went out for a walk. We walked 27 minutes. Probably more than that because we did a stop and then, my stepper stopped counting. Now, the only reason I tell you that is because this little thing keeps me honest. It tells me if I've walked enough. And now, I'm not telling you that you need a stepper or you need to go out and buy one, but it just keeps me honest to do it that way. And for you, it might be simply a daily question. Hey, have I walked around the block today? Or have I walked around the house? Or have I walked around our subdivision? Whatever the appropriate question is. Because sometimes we don't realize it. We just sit. And we sit for hours. And we move from one chair to another chair. And the only reason I know that is because I've done it. I've come to the end of a day and I've looked at my tracker and I realized that in, the whatever 12 hours I've been awake, I've had all of, 500 steps. And, that's not good for my heart, and it's certainly not good for my head. Some of us use devices like these. These are these balls that you can squeeze. And, once again, you don't have to go out and buy one, but you can grab something that you can squeeze, and it just kind of helps with some of the stresses that we have. It also makes, it's good blood flow. That's part of what it creates. And blood flow, movement, walking, all of these things are important to release stress, anxiety, and worry. The other thing that I do to release some of that worry and stress is sometimes I will just take time out to think about the good things happening in my life. Because one of the weird things that stress does to us, Jesus says, don't worry, because worry, no matter how much you worry, it will not add a day to your life. Well, what we know is that worry actually can take days away from your life. And so in thinking about it that way, one of the things that I do and I often remind people to do is to think about the good things happening in your life. Because worry sort of moves us in a direction that pushes us towards thinking about what's not working. And away from the things that are, like we have friends, we have family, we have a roof over our heads, we have means, and whatever those things are for you, it's going to be different for all of us. We have memories, we have our minds, and it's a good way to remind ourselves that we're not alone, that God is with us, that we are loved. The last thing that I want to share with you is probably, at first, every time I do this with people, I think I'm a little strange when I tell people to breathe. Because people think, well, I breathe all the time. I mean, I know how to do that. Well, the problem is that most of us don't really know how to breathe well because we're in a hurry. We're rushing. And sometimes when we get stressed, one of the things that we don't notice that we do is that under stress we tend to breathe real shallow. And those shallow breaths keep the activity from really getting to the brain and helping us think more clearly. So one of the things that I do, and I got to tell you, I started doing this a long time ago, actually a couple of decades ago. And that is, it's just breathing deeply and just taking a nice deep breath and holding it. and early on, I would see how long I could hold it. So I took that breath, and I could see just how long can I hold it. And I'm not going to do that game with you because I've done it long enough. I can do it pretty well, but you let it out. And after you let it out, you kind of hold that too. And sometimes, in order to minimize stress or anxiety, one of the things I do is I breathe in and count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, and I do that. Now, I don't want you to pass out. If you're not used to doing this, you can pass out trying to get it to 5. So you might want to start at 3 and then work yourself to 4. And then at some point to 7 or 10, 10 counts per breath. But one of the things it not only teaches us to breathe better and give us more oxygen to our brain, it also distracts us from thinking, because when I'm breathing intentionally for these last, 30 minutes, I haven't been thinking about anything except breathing. And there's freedom in that. There's freedom in not having to think about what's going on now, what's happening, what's not going well. And we all do this. I mean, you're certainly not alone if you're worried. I have times where I just, the reality of life and schedules and timing and everything that has to be done hits me. Or sometimes just the reality of what's not going to get done. So I just invite you to take some of these things and try them out, because it's very easy to tell somebody, don't worry. I think it's more helpful when we can give each other some helpful clues as to how to work towards that. So walk, breathe, remember all the good stuff that's going on. Increase your blood flow, squeeze something, throw something, and it might bring down your heart rate. It might improve the oxygen to your brain and allow you to think more clearly. And one of the most clear things you can figure out during these times is, even when times are hard, God is with us. I hope you have a nice day.